All right, guys, you are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. Welcome to the Trap Talk podcast. I'm your boy MJ. If this is your first time tapping in, your boy favorite, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Really, please. It would mean a lot to me if you hit that subscribe button. But hit that notification bell. Listen, if you're into keeping reptiles, breeding, admiring, selling, whatever, man, whatever your thing is with reptiles, if we share that passion and love, then this is the podcast you want to be a part of, because this is all we talk about. It's all about the bringing and coming of the amazing reptile species that we're so lucky to have in our lives. And yeah, I do want to say shout to all my viewers out there, viewers who support me, who don't support me. Either way, I listen, if you're watching me right now, thank you for being here. Shout out to people in the early bird comments. I appreciate you guys so much. I do want to say shout out to the entire reptile industry. Shout out to the entire reptile community. Shout out to you if you are about this reptile community. If you're about this reptile life, I got to say hats off to you. This is such a unique hobby to be in. You know, there's a lot of amazing hobbies out there in this world, but nothing's quite like the animal hobby. I got to tell you, industry. This industry, I've said this many times, it's taken my life somewhere where I'm so thankful. And it's been, how can I explain this? The way things have been going for me almost just seems like it's been a dream. It seems like it's been a movie. And anywhere as far as the animal collection I have, first and foremost, the animals behind me, the animals in my trap, this could all go away. It's not going to, but this whole podcast could go away. I would be okay because of the animals. Yeah, would I miss this? Of course I would miss this. I would miss the awesome community that I have standing behind me. Not all of them, but I got people who ride for me. I would miss that. But lately what's happened here on this podcast has jeopardized anything that I have going on as far as my, like I have a huge heart, and I'm not, like, if you guys know me, I have a huge heart. I really love what I do. I felt like I've been such a crazy influence in a positive way in this industry that I get showered mostly with comments and love. Keep doing your thing, MJ. Be you, MJ. Yeah, MJ. I love it when you're real, MJ. It's all I've ever heard. Mind you, I've definitely have pissed some people off throughout my 3 years in the podcasting game. And yeah, deliberately I've pissed people off. Like I said, I'm saying what I'm saying right now because I do feel like the video I first came out with addressing how I am and what I do, I don't think enough people heard it, or maybe it wasn't loud enough. So I'm going to address this stuff one more time. And I'm sorry if you're out there listening to this like, Jesus Christ, can we just get back to listen, I get it. I know you're probably so sick of having to even hear about this shit, but I'm sorry. Like I did this, so I don't have a choice but to address it. And I feel like I want to address it again because the first time I addressed this, I didn't think it was going to be like this. I really didn't. The people who always had, can I be real? Jealousy. A lot of people who are jealous of what I have going on here just been sitting back. And that group has been growing, that jealousy group or envy or whatever you want to call it, it's just been growing and growing and growing. It's, but also the positive side of my viewers has been growing, right? But when you have people like that who envy you or jealous or just upset about things that you said or just doesn't understand why you're so real or whatever, right? When you have those people, it tends to be something to where when you do go too far, which MJ goes too far, I'll admit, when you go too far enough and you go too far on the wrong person, then that's when those pitchforks are coming out. And that's basically what went down. We are looking at a scenario where I attacked. I hate using that word attack, but that's how the community, or that's how this era nowadays looks at it. I deliberately attacking people by their names and calling them out, right? But understand you that bad blood is bad blood. You know, in this world, there's good blood, there's bad blood. There's a way for good blood and bad blood to keep living by each other and just do your thing, right? But I speak true feelings on how I feel on whatever the facts is. The thing is, too much truth was said on an episode against somebody who just didn't deserve it. I'm going to address his name again, Shane Kelly. Shane Kelly did not deserve to be fucking dragged under the mud because I felt some type of way with somebody who deserves to be dragged under the mud, buried under the mud, and never come back again. And that's the truth. But listen, I can't be mad at anyone who wants to support somebody. And God damn it, I would never push anyone against the wall and say, hey, you either support this person or you support that person. But if you support that person, I'm going to unfollow you. I'm never going to, you're done. That's crazy. Like, that's anything against what we should stand for, and that's freedom. I mean, we should be free to do what we want. We shouldn't attack people. Like, if we really think about this, I mean, I thought, guys, my last few days has been the worst last, and this is my fault. I'm fucking, you know what I mean? The last few days have been the worst days I've ever had in this industry. And I'm going to tell you why. It is not because I have all these people messaging me, you spineless cocksucker, you're a piece of shit, you're fucking nothing, who are you, right? I do. That's all stuff that's like sticks and stones. Like, you were like, you know, and I'm going to elaborate how it's sticks and stones, because this is where I've been going wrong the entire time. It's crazy. These people who want to message me, you're a bitch, you're a cocksucker, whatever, I finally just message back, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Normally, I'm either calling you something just as bad back, or I'm saying, I will fucking see you someday. I'll say something and then block you, right? Which never got me anywhere, obviously. That just leaves me on, like, a path to where, like, I'm okay to just tell people to fuck off more and more and more and more. And I don't want to be on that path. I don't, because most of the time, those people with giving you that energy, it's a cry for help. They want attention, or they just want your attention. Lately, the last few people to tell me to go suck dick, excuse my language, but that's exactly what they're telling me. And I'm the, you know, just some nasty shit, you know, and I've been coming at them just like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. They always come back with, well, do you want to talk about it? Sure, let's talk about it, you know, after you just called me those fucking names. But guys, these people, I eventually, like, they're telling me, I didn't mean to call you that, man. It's like, I don't think, and this is also me calling the kettle black here, but I don't think people understand the way they say certain things on that level and then don't mean it. That's like, here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't mean what I said about Shane. I meant it. That was truth on how I felt. Doesn't make Shane a bad guy whatsoever. This is my own personal feelings with the guy. I could have easily took that to him and not mentioned it on the live, but I didn't do it that way. And that's where I fucked up big time. So I'm human. Doesn't make it, you know, doesn't make it right. No, but I'm human. I'm MJ. I'm as real as it's going to get. I could tell you what, I don't want to battle you guys out there. I don't listen. The guys out there, women out there, children, whoever the hell that wants MJ to burn, I don't want smoke from you guys. I'm good. I want to just do my thing. I don't ever want to individually I don't ever want someone to feel individually like I'm talking to you and you're a piece of shit. But I will still be MJ. I will still keep things 100% like how I feel. Like, for instance, weekly water changes. I'm going to be MJ on weekly water changes. You know what I mean? But that's because it relates to the animals. So I do want to be myself when it comes to bettering the life, bettering things for the animals. Okay, first and foremost. And that's where I get really pumped up, you know, because it's all about the animals. Like, this is embarrassing. This is so embarrassing that to myself, I embarrassed myself. I embarrassed my fucking Patreon members, my trappers. That's where things are really hard for me right now, is because I have my supporters, and I'm not even talking sponsors. I dealt with my sponsors. My sponsors knows what's good. We got our thing going on with me and my sponsors, okay? This is about the people who choose to stick by me. These are the people who've known MJ's growth throughout the last 3 years on this podcast, know that MJ has said some outlandish shit, but God bless him. He's just trying to make a point. You don't always have to agree, right? But this is, for one thing, this is my platform, and I am going to do things I feel like I need to do. And if it's a mistake, it's a mistake. I will own it. I will never be that guy to make an excuse, because I've made plenty of excuses. And I guess what? There's no excuse for what I did. I just don't need to fucking do it again. I don't. I need to keep this energy wrapped around the animals. And that's going to be very easy for me to do. But my heart is broken for anyone out there who supports me, who's getting pressed by people out there telling you not to support me, by getting pressed by, you know, threats that you won't get business or anything by supporting me. I am so sorry if you're in that position. Because there's some people out there who just don't like pressure. They don't want, like, there's people out there I affected who just try to stay behind the scenes. And now they're getting dragged into the mud for fucking Jesus, man. It's like, it hurts my fucking heart. That's, and guys, things that I've done in the past, as far as people I've come out with, I've had people upset on things I've said, right? But nothing has really affected the people who supported me. Now, what I said supports the people, or excuse me, now what I said affects the people who support me. And now that right there, biggest eye opener I've ever had. That right there makes me like, if I'm going to affect people from wanting to be in this, if I'm going to affect people for wanting to support me because they feel threatened, then what am I doing? This is not good. I got to reevaluate. But I've been reevaluating for the last few days, and I got to tell you, it's really simple, guys. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, and you could take this however you want, you can't cancel me. You can't cancel somebody who doesn't want to be canceled. Okay? So keep the DMs up if you want. Go ahead and keep calling me what you want to call me. It's not going to stop me. But leave my fucking followers alone. Leave my supporters alone. Let people be on the boat that they want. If a motherfucker grabs a paddle and jumps on somebody's boat and it's like, I don't give a fuck what you say, I'm going to paddle for this guy, then leave that person alone. Worry about the people on your boat and don't worry about the people on the other boat. Let people fucking row to wherever they want to go. Just leave them alone. And I'll leave you guys alone. Okay? I'll stop. I will not stop making this about the animals, though. That's all I got to say, because this shit is all about the animals. My heart, my blood fucking boils for these animals. And you guys will see out there. Again, I want to say one more time to my mentors, my peers, people who've literally been through this with me since I've had the roughest time of my life. And just because I said that the last few days have been some of the hardest days in this industry does not mean that this has been the hardest moment of my life. I've had shit happen to me in my life. So I'm not going to say this ain't shit, but as far as on a broad scale of affecting more than just myself, this is crazy. This right here is definitely the most devastating blow I've ever taken. Like, you ever disappointed your parents? Like, think about, I've disappointed my parents a lot, obviously, troublemaker in school, but this is like, I feel like I disappointed a lot of my people out there who fucking love me, man. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I disappointed you, but I still know that there's a fucking army behind me. I still know there's people rocking with me. And that's what I'm going to focus on. And that's what I'm going to do. So moving forward, this is not going to be addressed ever again, guys. So this is all you're getting. If this isn't enough, I'm sorry. This is it. I'm not going to address this ever again. But I am sorry if I made your life a little hard over the last week being in this industry. I won't ever make it this hard like this again. I don't want to make it hard at all, but I can't promise you what the future is. I just know how I could act differently to gain the respect that I should have on this channel. And what I mean by that, the people who say that I'm nothing but negative, the people who say all I do is attack everyone, respectfully, that's not true. Respectfully, that's not true. If I was that way, if I was a bully all the time, if all I did was bully people, I wouldn't have the sport I have right now. I know there's a big wave out there of people who don't want me here, but that wave's not bigger than the people who actually support me right now. And that's the truth. But I'm not going to write on that. That's the thing. I'm not going to rely on the people in the hobby who don't support me and want me down. I'm just going to invest with, no, here's the thing. Those people who are pissed off at me have a reason to be pissed off at me. And that's what I want to own, that you guys out there have plenty of reason to be upset with MJ because of this fucking mouth. Okay. I've dealt some dirty dishes out there for sure. I can handle them back, but I can't handle my fucking own, like my own family being affected by this. That I can't handle. That right there is what's making me wave this white flag right now. And what I mean by white flag is I'm not mad at you guys. Guys, go ahead, man. If you calling me something that you need to call me in my DMs makes you feel better, go ahead and we could talk about it. But if you want to call me something so aggressively or something so mean and you don't have the balls to talk to me, I don't even want to explain what that is, because I guess I'm not. You ask your guys, ask yourself, how do you expect evolving when there's no opportunity or basically that next chance to evolve, right? And what I mean by that, if I'm here owning my mistakes, if I'm here saying this is what I did wrong, but you don't want to talk to me and you don't want any response or I can't control that. What do you want me to control about that? I can't. So this is it. I love you guys. Listen, even if you're just not even an MJ fan, but you like this podcast, I know there's a lot of you out there. God, thank you so much. But I love anyone out there who's doing right by the animals. I love anyone out there who supporting people who do right by the animals. I support and love anyone out there who wants to just take things to the next level. I love people who come to me because I motivate them to take things to the next level. That is my game plan, because I would not be where I am if it wasn't for the animals. But more importantly, I would not be where I am if it wasn't for the fucking amazing people that I've met in this industry and whatnot. This is a gift of life. The gift of life is using things around you to just connect you with people who just make you want to do better. I have so many people in my life that make me want to do better. There's no excuse or reason why I'm even coming after people right now, because my life is so awesome and beautiful right now. And my toxic ass just isn't used to that shit. Like I said, last few years has been like a movie. Okay. Not working a 9 to 5 for the last 2 years has been like a movie. It's been like a dream. I've kind of abused it, obviously. Okay. But I'm not bulletproof. And I acted very cocky and arrogant and bulletproof last few months. And yeah, I'm not. So that's it. Hope you guys are ready for tonight. I love you guys. Shout out to everyone in the early birds. I'm fucking ready to get back to business. I am so ready to get back to business. Are you ready to get back to business? Well, let's go, guys. Okay. I got to say, yesterday, the Reptile Super Show was awesome. Okay. I had a great fucking time at the Reptile Super Show, but the podcast did not go as planned. Audio was not nearly as good as it should have had. Either way, too many complaints. So Marc Bailey is in the building. Okay. He's in my living room. We're going to get this guy in because I know you guys out there who fucking know Marc Bailey knows how legendary this guy's knowledge is, how much he has behind on so much shit that is happening in the ball python community, happening in the rodent community. Man, this is going to be a legendary episode. So guys, here we go. It's going to go down. And I do want to say tonight's episode is brought to you by the man himself, Marc Bailey from Marc Bailey Reptiles. I need you to please head over to Morph Market. I need you to please be on top of what this guy has coming, because it is going to go down and it's going to be sick as fuck. All right, guys, here we go. Going down, 30 seconds. We have the man, Marc Bailey from Marc Bailey Reptiles. Let's get shit cracking. Let's get shit pumping. It's game time. Gee.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And here we is back in the building, Marc Bailey from Marc Bailey Reptiles. What is up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
All right, guys, listen, speak up. If you can't hear Marc, wait, go ahead.
We're going to get this better tonight.
Guys, listen, Marc Bailey in the flesh. First and foremost, thank you for being here, buddy.
Thank you.
Now, listen, Marc, you're one of my sponsors. You're a huge supporter. You just heard what I just said right now. Before we get into this, anything you want to say to me, anything that you like to say to the reptile industry before we get into tonight's episode?
Man, let's just keep it moving. Keep it moving forward. We don't have time for drama, bullshit, whatever. It's just not worth the energy. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and you know, we've always had drama here and there, and I've always done everything I can to avoid it, just simply because I'm too busy. And that kind of crap takes my energy and depresses me. And it's stupid. Move on.
Yep. And listen, I got to say, you know, people like yourself who are in my life, man, I mean, like you said, last thing I ever want to talk to you about is fucking drama, because like, dude, there's so much more important shit out there. I mean, the animals where they're at, the ball python community, like, there's more important shit we should be talking about.
You know, I do this about the animals.
Right.
You know, I prefer, sounds bad maybe, but I prefer animals over people. I have a lot of great friends, but that's my piece.
Right.
So it's, you know, drama, that's negativity, that's energy, that's bad energy. It's just, you know, people that partake in it, you know, it's just, whatever.
And we're gonna keep it moving here, man. And I just
you know, I mean, MJ, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, I've grown up my whole life. I've made mistakes.
Right.
And there came a point in time where I decided, you know, if I keep making these mistakes, I'm not gonna get anywhere. But you know, you figure things out.
Yeah.
You know, and you're doing that. Everybody's doing that. Let's keep doing that.
Beautiful, man. Sounds like a plan. You guys cool with that? I think I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Reptile Super Show Pomona. What'd you think, man? I mean, listen, that show was loud. It was cracking. It was, I mean, what do you have to say about the Reptile Super Show this year?
Pomona. Dude, that was a crowd.
Yeah.
We had a hard time getting out of there today, and it was crowded till the time we left. Vendors, I talked to multiple vendors that I know today, and I had zero there was nobody complaining. Everybody sold snakes. You know, nobody's, you know, I didn't hear people doing trip 6 digits or anything like that, but everybody was happy that I talked to. And that's just fantastic to hear. So
no, I mean, did you kind of hear anything from people as far as how sales went from on your side? I mean, did you talk to anything as far as sales at Pomona this year or no?
Yeah. I mean, people were happy.
Yeah.
You know, that snakes were selling. Again, I don't know what was selling. I didn't get too much into specifics, but you know, things, and people were looking. I was with a friend of mine, and you know, he was dealing with some people that were, you know, they were looking at some high end stuff and some mid range stuff. You know, people were walking around with things. A lot of new time people looking at reptiles, buying reptiles. It was a good time. I like the venue here. It's I just love it here, man. I tell you that every time I talk to you.
Well, yeah, because you're shoveling snow, man.
Right. I mean, I was talking to somebody today. I was outside, and, you know, it's 60 degrees and sunshine, and I'm like, man, I'm savoring every second of this because I won't get a chance for a bit.
I mean, okay, we will talk a little bit as far as like what you have to be prepared for where you live, because it's like, I don't think people understand how much backup generators cost and all this shit.
Yeah, man.
It's so joke.
So like, yeah, I live in for people that don't know, I live in Minnesota, and it gets I love to change the seasons there, but it's something that you with keeping reptiles and animals, period, that you have to really be on top of, and things happen. This winter we've had two pretty major, you know, kind of ice storms. So there's been a lot of ice in the trees. I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had a tree on my neighbor's property fell on a power line at 4 a.m. and knocked the power out in an entire neighborhood. I think it was about 10 degrees outside. I've got a standby generator, which is a generator that kicks on automatically when I lose power and runs everything on the property. So I heard the power go out, and then obviously the generator kicked in and everything's fine. I've had a standby generator like that on my whole property for 25 years. This is the third one that I've had. I've had 2 others. One blew up. Actually, 2 of them blew up. And they have the type that I'm using had like an 8-year, 10-year shelf life, it seems like.
Okay.
But that's one of the things I have to do to keep things safe. You know, if you have a catastrophe, it's just, I mean, you lose everything. Then I think it was a week before I came here, I'd make my rounds like I always do at sunup, check the rodent building, and I had a heater failed. A heater that I put in 22 years ago.
At what time did you, like, what was it in the morning you found out the heater went out, or like, how did you know?
It was 6 a.m. in the morning. I don't have an alarm on that unless we're out of town, but I have a backup heater, so the backup did work. It was 42 degrees on the rodents, and they were just fine. Got them heated up, and I got a heater guy out there, and we figured it out and had to get a new heater put in. So things go out. You know, a lot of people don't realize that if they have a power failure, their heater, most heaters need electricity to run.
Right.
I have in my house, I have a heater that has a hydrostatic thermostat on it that requires no electricity. So I can still run heat without electricity where the animals are and where I am. Okay. So that's pretty nice. That's a nice backup. So in extreme conditions, I have always had backups for the backups. And it's proven to be a good move. If you know, the more valuable things are, the more chance you have to lose. For instance, if I was talking to Desiree earlier, and I said, if you know, it's not that easy to lose an entire rodent colony.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you do, how long does it take to get that rodent colony established, or reestablished and up to the production level that you had it at? It would take, at the levels we were at, first of all, I can't get that many mice or rats from anywhere in the country to replace mine. I'd have to produce my own, keep them back. So basically, make a long story short, it would take 1.5 to 2 years to get back up to the production level to where I could start selling rodents again. This was, say, a decade ago. So that's 1.5 years with no income if I lost my rodent colony. So the having things in check are critical, especially as you get bigger.
I mean, do you recall the biggest loss you've ever taken, like in your rodent colony, and what like around what year that was? Or have you ever taken a huge loss? Like, have you ever got things wiped out before?
Never when I was big. I've knock on wood, I've never had a catastrophe. And I think that's why, because I have backups for backups. I don't leave home. If I'm not there, somebody's there covering things, making physical checks. I don't trust sensors. So we've been goddamn lucky. Like, I know a lot of people that have had issues, and especially in the climate that I live in, because we also, not only do we get, 30 to 60 below wind chill temperatures, we also, in the summer, we can get 110 heat index temperatures. So we deal with both extremes, so we have to have air conditioning and all that as well.
I mean, you've been in Minnesota for how many years now? 30 plus years?
I moved there in 1990.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1990.
Yeah. From Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And I've asked you this, but for anyone out there is wondering, like, what made Mark go from Louisiana, which was definitely more reptile friendly to keep, you would say, right? Like, it's a lot easier keeping reptiles in Louisiana, for sure, you would say, or no?
I try to wrap my head around that a lot, MJ. Like, if I had moved back down to Louisiana, I don't know if I'd have a hard time setting something up that would be as efficient as it is with what I have now, I think. Because I have they have basements in the, under, half. So I don't have a basement per se, but I have a halfway underground. I have like a walkout. So like the lower level where I keep the animals is halfway underground. So that provides like a real stable temperature because of the ground surrounding the walls.
Right.
And I just think it's just an ideal deal. Rodents, you don't have to worry about cold, you'd never have to worry about heat there, but it would be just a matter of how much you would want to spread rodents out in Louisiana to keep them from overheating with fans and swamp coolers, stuff like that. So I think, it would be easier to run an operation where I am than in Louisiana, to be honest with you.
Did it get difficult at one point in your rodent career? Because I'm sure you supplied certain breeders and they relied on your ass. Like, I'm sure you were like their fucking best friend when it came to rodents at a certain point, right? And then when you go from being on that level of rodent breeding and supplying some of the biggest people in the game, and then you don't do it, how did you adjust to that? Like, how did they take that first and foremost? Like, when they found out that you weren't doing it anymore,
right,
how did that go down? I'm curious.
So that, like, I always, like, I never advertised. I always depended on the best advertisement is word of mouth, and you get good, word of mouth travels by providing the best service. So once I had a customer, I took care of them. Right. Like it's on time, consistent with sizes, et cetera, et cetera. So typically, once I would get a customer, they'd always stay with me. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I was very loyal to my customers. And I think it was it was a little over a decade ago, maybe 12 or 14 years ago now, I decided that I was going to cut back, eliminate or reduce the number of employees, and just start kind of downsizing. Working towards retirement or semi-retirement, whatever you want to call it, freeing up more time for myself. So I started doing that, and I started warning rodent customers that I was going to be cutting back, and that, I'm not going to be doing this. And,
right.
When people got to feed their animals, and, they hear you say this, and apparently they just don't believe you. And I mean, they
take it personal.
Right. People thought that I was like personally just doing this to them,
down or something.
Yeah. And the crazy thing was I gave them like most people had multiple years of warnings. I mean, I never did like an official letter and, mailed it out and stuff like that. But I mean, I had a couple people that actually threatened me. They wanted, I'm going to come over. I know where you live, you know, from out of state. It's like, well, all right. You know, but it's all good. You know, we just move on and I, you know, hopefully I don't have any enemies in the industry.
I mean, I could tell you on the ball python side of things, I mean, who knows, man? I mean, I don't know, Mark. I hate to say it because whenever you say something like that, a video comes out. I'm just kidding, but you know,
you know what? I won't see it, so have fun. I don't give a fuck.
But what I'm saying is, I've never heard any bad name. Like, I've never heard Mark Bailey and anything negative as far as a story within anything, but ball python wise, especially. You were definitely looked up upon as far as what you've done morph wise in the ball python game, and that is something that you've been dear hearted to for, I mean, I don't know, pretty long now. I mean, I've worked really hard to be that way. I believe in what I do. I believe in people. I don't want to see people fail. Awesome. I'm not going to mislead somebody. And I think when people get to know me, they come back, and that's always meant a lot to me. Do you have anyone out there that sticks out out of your mind as far as the person who really helped you pave the way with ball pythons, like from the get go? Like anyone that you could think of, like it could even be somebody who's not around anymore. But do you have anyone out there that you kind of could share like the growth of where things went at an earlier stage?
You know, I mean, it was everybody. I mean, I was good friends with Brian,
Barczyk, right?
Brian Barczyk,
yeah.
Kevin McCurley, Amir Soleimani. I mean, Pete Call. We're all friends.
Eugene
Bissett, Bill Brandt.
What do you think about Eugene coming on the show next or this Thursday?
I love Eugene. I you know, man. I mean, I've spent time with Eugene. I miss Eugene so much. I haven't seen him since pre-COVID. I want to get down to Gainesville. He and I we got to go watch a football game before we're like bitter rivalries. So
because he's Gator, is he a Gator fan?
He's a Gator fan. I'm a Tiger fan.
Oh yeah, shit!
So
LSU.
Yeah, and we usually kick their ass, so it's no big deal.
I've always liked LSU, man. I like Gators too.
Bill Brandt's also a big Gator fan.
Yeah,
and we harass each other as well. So it's cool stuff.
Tell me a really cool Bill Brandt story, because Bill's been on Unfiltered Reptiles podcast. What a legendary guy. But any cool story with you and Bill?
Yeah, I can tell you a story with Bill, and it relates a little bit to you. And I you know, a lot of it's amazing, but things, you know, life goes on.
Right.
Things change, and you know, not many people know Bill now.
Right.
You know, and he's just a classic gentleman, just awesome. The industry was so lucky to have that man. He brought this industry so far in his time in the game, and can't give enough props to Bill. But anyway, so you know the gravel gene.
Yes.
Okay, so Bill Brandt discovered the gravel gene.
Wow.
All right.
Within his own collection?
Within his own collection.
Okay.
He had this girl Susan that was breeding his ball pythons for him. I can't remember Susan's last name, but she was pretty cool and on top of it. For the time, she was really on top of it. They had a good thing going down there. Anyway, she had what she thought were a couple of yellow bellies that she bred together, and a highway popped out. So obviously one, you know, now we know that one was a gravel, one was a yellow belly.
Okay.
But it took a little while to figure all that out, you know. And I actually got the first couple of highways that Bill Brandt sold, and I paid Bill $30,000 for both of them.
Jesus.
And that was, you know, I can't remember what year that was. It all blends together. Somebody knows, I'm sure. But Bill, and this was like in January, like the cold time of the year. Okay, so people that I ship to, and I talk to people all the time. I was talking to the shipping companies this weekend about a boxing technique that I've used for a while that works really good, like a double boxing technique. And I told Bill, I said, we're just not gonna be able to get them up there. you know, and Bill was like an engineer type, you know, you figure stuff out.
Right.
Okay. And so Bill spent like a week or two doing these different tests with these boxes. And he figured out that if you put one box inside the other with heat packs in the middle, and he's got multiple refrigerators and freezers on his operation, and he would check, you know, put temperatures in there and see how cold they would get. And he had it all documented, and he narrowed it down to this setup. He thought it would work. So he ships the snakes to me. It worked just fine, of course, you know, but I think it was, I don't know, it was maybe single digits when the snakes got there, and it was all just fine. So
And
that's a little Bill Brandt, whatever.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I love how the way you mentioned how I dropped 30K at 20K. I mean, when did that become normal?
Well,
to
you know, look,
I'm just
okay,
curious
so
when that was a normal thing for you.
that is not normal for me. Okay, I did not come from money. Nobody bankrolled me. I work for everything I've got. Every penny. A great family growing up and whatnot. We didn't live in luxury, but we had what we needed, and that was just fine. But I worked. I don't have a college degree. Tried to go to college. I couldn't do it. But when I realized that I could maybe breed snakes and sell snakes and stuff and lizards and make money, I was all over it. And I think it was, it was right around the early time in the ball python game that the culmination of the years of colubrids, boas, and rodents. I was able to buy a house. I had a little savings, and then the first, few years of production with ball pythons were very strong. And I think that enabled me to, do stuff like that.
Right.
And those projects, most of them worked out very well. I know the banana project. I bought a banana for $50,000. No, 55,000. Not 50, 55,000.
Dude, don't forget that extra 5K.
Yeah, 5K is a lot, dude.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
50 bucks is. Where I come from, they put a bullet in your head for a pair of tennis shoes. But terrible.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that came back fast and hard. And that you can call it an investment. I have a hard time labeling animals as investments, but that worked out great. And I think that project, I think the money that I made from that project paid off my house, if I remember right. Which has always been a number one to me, is to keep your overhead low.
And you have, that's something you kept emphasizing yesterday during the show, which unfortunately audio was bad, like I mentioned. But that whole game plan. First and foremost, we said that big secret is patience, right? We kept saying how patience goes behind everything, right? But other than that, what we were just discussing, you feel like that's just as important. Like, you got to keep that overhead as little as possible. And even if you have room to put more on, like, don't overdo it, because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, and you don't know, like, for instance, how did you adjust going from paying a $55,000 for a banana and then the banana going to a $400 snake? Like, how did that affect Marc Bailey Reptiles and what you had going on? Did that affect you big time financially? And was it a while before you could bounce back? I'm just curious how.
No. I mean, that just continued because there were, then the banana combos, so they weren't, I think the most I ever sold a banana for was $20,000 or $25,000.
Wow.
So it came down quick, but with the amount of production that you have from them, and then you start adding the genetics into it, and over the course of 5 years of production, add that up. So you can, and even today, from those original breedings, I'm still producing bananas that, I bring in sales from. So, I'm still making money from that investment today. It's just kind of how it works. New people getting into it, they're looking at purchasing let's say a couple of female ball pythons, raising them up, and they're hoping to get production at 2 or 3 years old, which won't happen. It very rarely happens. It's more of a 4 to 5 year thing on average, in my opinion. That should be what a person should expect. But once those animals start producing, you can get them to produce every year or every other year. And then by then you have others that are ready to produce. And once that all that production starts rolling, you have some consistent production. You can hold some stuff back. It becomes a annual cycle. My business is seasonal. My busiest season, my eggs are laid from June through August. And, so things hatch a couple of months after that, say, July, August, September, October are my busiest months of the year. I don't do a lot during the winter because the shipping is difficult. And then I have all spring to sell animals before I have new hatchlings available. So it's I have a year-round program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that you said before, pretty sure you told me personally this over the phone, but I'm not sure if you said this on the podcast yet with me. The way you shut your food off for the animal and with your breeders, right? So let's kind of talk about how you don't feed at a certain point of the year to your collection. Can we kind of talk about that?
Yeah. So right now, and that's what other people are doing right now, actually, too, is breeding. My animals seem to feed a little bit longer this year. I did a few things different, but they're just wrapping. They kind of stopped eating about 2 weeks ago. So I just started pairing snakes about 2 weeks ago. And I think what'll happen over the next month is some of those will go the next 6 or 8 weeks. Some of those will want to, will go back on food. Some other ones will shut off and animals will be breeding. And within a couple months, everything will be done. The females will be done eating. So not only do the breeder females I stop feeding, I also stop feeding the 2 and 3 year old females that I'm raising up.
Right.
So everything is done feeding until the females lay their eggs and go back on food, which would be, for the most part, August. Okay. So, I reduce my rat production. I produce a lot less rats. It's a lot less work. And maybe I can take a nice little vacation in the spring.
Come to San Diego, man. Come on. We love when Mark Bailey comes.
We're going to go somewhere. So, yeah.
I mean, you talk about vacations, and I'm really glad you made it this weekend because, you're up against a storm. And
you know what I came out here for, man?
What?
I came out here to get a fucking glass of wine thrown at me. Motherfucker.
Bro. Okay, I got this last night after the auction. Mind you, I was a little tipsy, but I had a glass of wine that was like this fucking big.
I mean, it was like a double glass.
It was huge, and she filled it up, and like, I don't know what's going on. Our table was full of fucking goddamn plates of food and shit, and
people, and
so I get my $800 US arc pipe that I won, that now Dave Levinson has. You're welcome, Dave. I get this $800 pipe that's in a goddamn puffy bag, and I'm just trying to grab it and get it out of the way, and it barely brushes by the glass, but it pushes it enough so much where, like, I try to grab it, and what I do is I barely miss it, and it just literally flies. Like, and it
how did that glass wind up broken on the wall right behind? No.
What? No, Mark, why you can't be saying that shit, Mark? Fuck, dude. Now here we go again. My DMs are gonna be murdered.
That was like, dude, that was.
Because everyone was looking like, what happened? And Mark's is full of wine. And they literally looked like I just went, ugh.
So MJ, the MJ says nothing to me. He grabs his bottle of wine. He's hollering for the fucking waitress. Like, dude, you must.
Screaming, fuck US Arc at the same time.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. This is a joke, guys. We're kidding. Can you say it's a joke? I mean,
It was Lily.
Yeah. Hi, Lily. Lily was right
She was there. She was sitting right next
Lily
to me.
was right there, and Lily was there to say it was an accident.
I covered her so she wouldn't get covered with wine. Desiree got a little bit on her.
Yeah, Des, you just let Des to just get drenched.
Man, I had so much fun this weekend.
I did too. Man.
I mean, I love the shows, and now since I haven't been at a show since prior to COVID actually, but I've attended a handful of them, and it's great to see people out here. Been a long time since I've been to a show on the West Coast. Just great. Hooked up with John Levy, an old
John Levy,
old bike riding buddy of mine,
Jungle.
Love him and his wife. Yeah, it was great. You got to get him on your show, man.
Oh, it's happening, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you said to him, but this was the very first time. Like John's always been. I say hi to John. He always says hi back. Like, he's never ever like fucking roused me or like tell me to fuck off or anything. Like, he's always been respectful and been high back. But this time he's like, "Hey MJ," and I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Get me on your show," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like,
"Right on,
dude. I've been trying to ask you for years." But he's like, "Can I still come on?" I'm like, "Dude, 110%." So yeah, episode with John Levy going down from John's Jungle, just because John has just been around from a long time.
I think we're about the same amount of time.
Right.
I didn't know John the first handful of years, but I know I've known him at least 20 plus years.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
good guy, super nice guy.
I'm really happy that I had my dog right here, Mark Bailey, somebody who's a show veteran as far as Mark Bailey was around my very first vending. Like you saw me vend for the very first time. You helped me out. Shout out to my boy Diego.
Diego's cool. Good security. Security.
How important do you feel like it is for somebody to kind of get themselves out there and start vending? Especially if you do, because listen, there's a lot of people who are just happy doing online stuff, but don't you feel like there's so much more meat on the bone by going to these shows, putting your, because a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to make no money at a show, and I feel like it's more than just making money at a show, isn't it? Or what, how do you feel?
It's absolutely more than making money. It shows. When years ago when we were doing shows, we did shows. Part of doing shows was to grow the industry. So we had a few shows that somebody was asking me if I ever had a show that I didn't sell anything. I can think of two shows that were really bad. They were when NARBC was kicking off, and you have to make attempts in different areas. And Chantilly, Virginia was a flop, and Houston, Texas was a flop. And they both ended up with the vendors just looking at each other.
Wow.
And I mean, these were the way back, and obviously Tinley Park worked out, and we stuck with Arlington, worked out really good. And those are, I think the two biggest NARBC shows. And I mean, to see this out here, the number of people that were in the show, the number of vendors. This was a big show.
Yeah, shout out to Josh Jackie, ballpython shed. I mean, he had a hell of a fucking day yesterday, and I don't know how it went today. I mean, listen, I couldn't stay Sunday all day today. I was there for like an hour, and then I had to pack up. So I'm curious if anybody had big numbers today. Let me know. Reach out to me. But I got to say, shout out to Troy Schroeder from Best Dressed Balls. Shout out to Jacob from Civil Serpent. Shout out to Andrew. That whole group over there. They had a really good day yesterday from what I heard. The vibe was great.
They had a nice looking setup.
Dude, yeah. I mean, that's why. And then shout out to my boy Matthew Summers. Matthew's
cool.
That's my boy. Yeah, shout out to his girlfriend Megan. They had an awesome time. My boy Matthew slayed 3 snakes today from what I've seen. So congratulations to my boy Matt. But it's cool because my boy Matt has been doing this with me side by side as far as traveling, all this shit, and we've been going to shows together, and to see ourselves vending for the very first time side by side. Like, I already know 2 other homies who fuck with us who want to vend next to us. So I feel like when you can kind of build an entourage of people to vend with, like, dude, it's so fun when you vend with your friends. Like, when you have a row of all your friends vending next to each other, it's fucking awesome. So I don't know, man. I just got to say shout out to that group. Like I said, to the Troy Schroeder group and all those guys over there. It just, when you can collab with people like that and go in on tables with people and still have your brand and their brand, I mean, dude, you're going to attract more people to your tables like that, I think, because you just look at all the variety, the availability that you have. So
Yeah.
I think it's important.
It's good to see that, because it seemed like, people used to, there were some people that used to try to do that sort of thing. And, things got pretty competitive, from time to time.
Right.
And, sometimes those things didn't work out, but it's really, those guys all seem solid.
Because listen, think about how people, we won't get into things, but you do know that one thing that aggravates you, Mark, is people that are looked at solid and they're not solid. And that seems to.
You're talking about those spineless motherfuckers, man.
But like it's just kind of it's kind of easy to think somebody's something that they're not, just because the lack of experience you have into something. And what I'm saying is, I just feel like it's a lot easier to be called out on your poor husbandry, customer care. It's a lot easier to pinpoint who's a shitty keeper and breeder nowadays than it was back in the days, you feel like, because of the outreach and how much exposure is out there with what's happening. And people obviously don't give a shit to take things as far as they need to if you screw them over, you know what I mean? So
okay, so like I've heard people say that back in the day, people were really cutting each other's throats and stabbing each other in the back or whatever. And you just heard me say something about it, that it seems like people have tried to do that. And, I didn't mean that the past was any worse than it is today. I think that situation with Troy and his group, they just seem like a solid group of people, and that seems like something that's working.
And what's crazy is they're not doing anything crazy, but just providing awesome quality animals, and they don't fuck anybody over. They really look after each other,
and they see how it works.
Yeah.
Okay. So right. If you stick with those guns, you look bigger, and you can be stronger that way. And that's kind of what that feel has. To cut you off.
You gotta admit, number one person missed at Reptile Super Show, and you haven't mentioned his name, but I'm gonna mention his name right now. You're like, what the hell? Where was he? I missed you, Antoine Hood. There was no Antoine Hood.
I didn't see him.
He was sick.
Was he?
Yeah, he was really sick. He got hit the COVID.
Oh man, yeah. Antoine missed you, bro.
Yeah, man, and that group of people I mentioned, Troy, Jacob, Andrew, like Antoine is such a huge player to that group, and honestly,
is he part of that? He's part of that group?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's right there. He was one of the logos there.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, so it just
I didn't see him. So
and that's what I'm saying. If he was there, you would have seen.
I'd have seen him.
Anyone could see Antoine.
Yeah, we're friends.
Ain't nobody got a black head like that guy. He has one of the nicest heads.
Ain't nobody gonna fuck with that dude either.
Ain't nobody gonna fuck with Antoine either.
But damn.
But hella miss. But that just kind of goes to the kind of group of people that is being established here in SoCal. And not even SoCal shit. Troy comes all the way from Ohio.
I talked to him. He drove nonstop.
Right. That's great. But dude, Josh Jackson's like that, Dave Levinson. That's why I commend
MJ,
people
when
like that,
I used to do that.
Yeah,
that shit
I know.
back. Yeah,
That's
I think I used to drive 3 or 4. I don't know. Not no more.
Because theoretically, I know you don't vend anymore, right? But if you let's say you could vend, what shows would you vend? Would you just stay as close as possible?
I'd probably just do Tinley Park. I that's always been my backyard, Chicago. That's where I started doing shows. Was in Chicago.
Right. Can we talk? We talked about this yesterday, but I'm sure the audio was fucking shit. So why don't we mention the time you were vending in a barn and the floor was dirt.
So and there's a number of people. I saw Rick's name up on the comments. It's hard for me to read that, but there's a lot of guys. Brian Potter, Bob Ashley, Brian Barczyk, Mark Kimbell. We all started at this barnyard Lee Watson swap, and Lee Watson was a cool guy. He's dead now, but he had the largest reptile show in the country, and he used to say that because he had a show every month And then at one period, at a point in time, he started having 2 shows every month of the year. So if you add up the number of people that would go through the door, it might have been 1,000 or 1,500. I don't know what the numbers were, but if you add that up, 2 shows a month for 12 months out of the year, that's the biggest show in the country. So he was not lying about that. But anyway, that was in a couple of old pole barns, and I mean, it was bikers. There were a few times where fights would break out before the show. Tables flipping.
Good old days.
It was fun, man.
Man.
There's still drunk from the night before. Yeah, it was. But I would go to that show, MJ, and I would go around and I'd buy, if I had a couple $100 on me, whatever, I might buy a bunch of animals, put them on my table with what I had,
right,
mark those up, and sometimes I could actually cover the trip with just those, so it was hustling,
right.
We you really had to, hustle to, try to make a dime, pay gasoline, whatever you could do.
But back then, did you have your certain customers that spent just a lot of money with you? Like, did you have one or two that were just dropping a shit ton of money? No, there wasn't a lot of money at that point. The high end snakes for me back in the early 90s, I think were like gray banded king snakes for $150 to $250. Colombian boas, I produced those. I'd get $100 to $150 for them, if I recall. Brazilian rainbow boas, we would get $250 a piece for those. Yeah, I mean I did a lot of colubrids, leopard geckos. Played with blood pythons, carpet pythons, everything. Just a lot of hustle. And then with the colubrids, some of the first higher end snakes that I remember, a guy by the name of Steve Osborne, I think he might have been in Texas at the time, somehow got a hold of albino rutheni. So there was like the first albino colubrid, and he was selling those for $1,000 a piece. Jeez.
And that, which is, in today's standards, it's nothing, but that was like,
right,
the first high end. I mean, there weren't boas going for that much, back in the day. No ball, but nobody was doing ball pythons. And yet there were morphs that were coming in with all the imports. And people, I mean, they used to just get rid of those. They were defective. So I think they called them defects.
Yeah. Guys, real quick, we're getting we're still got things rolling here. If you haven't hit the like button yet, it's never too late. Not mad at the likes. Likes are respectable, but they could be better. It's Marc Bailey. Let's go. He's legendary. So let's get the likes up right now for Marc Bailey. Importation, Marc. You've worked with lots of colubrids at one point in your career. Is that right?
Yeah.
And were any of those imported colubrids or
the colubrids I worked with were all North America. No, there were I did a lot of Honduran milk snakes, black milk snakes, and gagei, but mostly North American stuff, with the exception of a handful of milk snakes. As a kid, obviously there wasn't internet and stuff like that. And I was lucky enough to have a mom that went out of her way for me. And I'd just beg, kick, and scream until she'd bring me to the library to try to find a snake book. Wow. And there wasn't much. but I would find some, and like I was just like completely enthralled by the tricolor, anything tricolor.
Right.
Okay. So I could not find those snakes around where I lived. Jeez. Okay. I mean, I could find dark snakes, but nothing is vibrant and pretty as, I didn't know where to find Louisiana milk snakes when I was a kid. I know where to find them now. But yeah, it's, that was my first fascination. So I got into, milk snakes, and Honduran milk snakes being my, that was actually probably the first big money maker for me were Honduran milk snakes, because I happened upon a strange gene within a group that I had that made a lot of aberrant Honduran milk snakes. And then when the colubrid market took a major dive, and that was actually when ball pythons came on.
Right. Is that what caused the dive? Was the ball pythons?
Kinda. And I think at the time too. So this is how the whole reptile industry has worked. Okay. The colubrids had gotten very hot. So what happens when the market's hot? There's more production.
Right. Okay.
So it got overproduced, and then there was a shift in ball pythons because we were seeing combos on I forgot what I was talking about.
We're talking about how the colubrids went down because of the ball python market.
Right.
Ball
Sorry.
pythons were coming in.
Right.
Hey, I'm
I'm
not the only one who does it. Okay, just so you guys know.
I just got distracted with something back at home. So,
everything good?
Yeah, everything's fine. So what happened at that point in time is the colubrids were kind of being overproduced. Ball python markets, the ball python market was starting. We would see combos of, starting to see a few combos, and people were kind of taking off that direction. So I kind of leaned that way, was reduce my boa collection, and also kind of started reducing my colubrid collection, and I miss doing colubrids, but the Honduran milk snakes were my favorites. I did a lot of corn snakes too, which are really cool snakes. I don't care what anybody says.
I gotta say, one thing I admired when you first got to my house, right before we even took care of some smoking business, you're like, hey man, I just gotta look at these snakes real quick. Like, you're like,
oh yeah,
you just started staring at my boreal stuff, and you're like,
yeah.
And I was like, man, this guy really just missed looking at shit. Like you love shit like this.
Yeah. Oh, I do. Yeah. I do. I love snakes in the wild.
Right.
I mean, that's
how much herping have you done outside the country? In Australia at all, or anything like that?
Zero. Yeah. There's plenty of stuff right here to see. Yeah. I can go down to southern Minnesota and hang out with rattlesnakes, Sure enough. Yeah. I
mean, shit, herping in your area is just fucking ideal.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
Who was it I was talking to today? Cusco.
Okay.
I was talking to him. I can go 5 miles from my house, and I can go to a place where I can hear nothing, so I can hear, so I can really hear. You know. Yeah, it's just that brings you a certain, Kevin McCurley, we've gone herping together before. And it just, you see the change in somebody. I can see me and him, because he's the same way I am, and like it just changes when you get out there. It's a certain amount of peace. It's just it's hard to explain. Good.
I'm sure living where you're at, you have certain things that you do throughout the seasons that are kind of like traditional, right? Like, I mean, you like riding mountain bikes, right?
Yeah.
What time of the year is that best for you to do? Like, what do you like riding your bike?
Springtime is usually pretty nice. Fall, I would love to ride in the fall, but I'm so damn busy,
right?
But I train year round. I ride year round, when I can. So yeah, it's all good.
Overall, with how ball python market is, we talked a little bit about a recession, or what a recession is going. And with the people out there, some of the biggest names talking about recession videos, do you feel like that's a problem, or are they just kind of just giving people the inside? How do you feel like the whole recession talk is doing to the ball python community right now?
So we talked about that yesterday, and we were kind of starting to go on that, or I started to try to talk about that a minute ago with where the colubrids dived some and the ball pythons kicked up. So all throughout my time in the reptile industry, which has been, I've done this professionally for a little over 30 years now. Things have been, I don't want to say cyclical, but there's been peaks and valleys. Right. So we had, around COVID time, we had an influx of people invest I'd say invest in ball pythons with all the extra money that people had during COVID, government money, whatever. People wanting to start a business at home, We had a huge influx of ball python breeders. I think that's fantastic. And I think what may happen is prices have come down a little bit, and those people play with ball pythons. While they're into ball pythons, they're really starting to look at other stuff as well.
Right.
There's a lot more than just ball pythons, and I guarantee you a lot of those are going to venture into other things. They may be done with ball pythons, but they'll venture.
They'll be sticking around.
And if they're lucky enough, they'll find something that they're passionate about that, they can pursue. So it's ball pythons have brought a lot of people into the reptile industry.
And gateway.
It's
probably the gateway.
It's what's grown the industry.
Yeah.
It is definitely what's grown the entire industry, I think. And in combination with social media and other things,
right.
So
definitely all comes together at the end of the day. Now, with the ball python market being like, with the people breeding certain shit in the ball python game, obviously there's just more than one person who's doing a lot of sick shit nowadays. Usually it's kind of like a handful of people, but if you look, a lot of people, because they're buying animals from you, they're buying animals from Levance, they're buying animals from Miguel, Justin, right? And they're doing it right. They're waiting, they're putting in their patience, and then now there's this production is just fire as shit. If that keeps going the way it goes, the more people who are willing to invest into the bigger projects. Do you feel like that's what's going to feed this hobby? Is the higher end project people come into this, or do you feel like even if it's more popular to be a mid or low, is the mid and low still going to carry the hobby? Like what do you feel like the demographic of high breeders, mid to low breeders? Which one is the biggest piece we need, you think?
I'd say the mid to low. So like right now it feel okay. We were in November and December, and people are talking about the market is saturated.
Right.
Well, every year the market is saturated at the peak and the end of hatchling season.
Right.
Okay. That's when there's the most animals there, which is what time of the year? August, September, October, November, sometime in there. People do hatch ball pythons year round now, but not as many during that that out of peak time. So it just makes perfect sense. You'll watch, people are talking about the numbers on morph, number of ball pythons more on Morph Market. I don't know how many are on there right now. Let me check.
Check that.
Let's see, click on that.
Do you guys want to see how we do this? All right. Who wants to see how we could check how many things on Morph Market?
I'll teach everybody something on the computer.
All right, here we go. So look, everyone's looking at this screen now. So what do we do?
I think you hit the ball python thing there.
So ball python.
Oh my God! Shit! Right here. Yeah, hit that I button. Click it. Yeah, you see it.
Well, hold on. So there's
50,000.
50,944 ball pythons.
No, that's 500,000.
No, that's 50,000.
50.
Yeah.
Okay.
50,944 ball pythons on 4,815 ads. That doesn't seem like crazy.
So like, it wasn't that long ago that we were importing, 300 to 400, 500,000 ball pythons a year from Africa.
Okay. At the end of the day, do we need it even, and this is kind of jumping to another topic, but do we even need to import any more ball pythons from Africa at this point? Do you think that's important?
I don't know. I think I think Africa wants to send them to us because they
making money.
They make a little bit of money off of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So,
but there's even ball python. What's crazy is I think. Oh yeah, Dave Kaufman. You know Dave Kaufman.
I know Dave very well. Yeah.
What a guy.
Dave and I are great friends.
What do you think of the ball python movie he made?
Haven't watched it.
Why? Just haven't had time. Or you just rather not?
Dude, I'm not a TV watcher. I watch sports.
You watch Trap Talk.
And I sit in my sauna and, you know,
Listen.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
I haven't watched it. Is it good?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, see, here's the thing. There's a lot of people out there who are like, well,
and
there's
I told Dave I haven't watched it. I told him I was really sorry I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. To me, I'm like, I'm still new. I've been doing this for 5 years now, and I would love to see a new ball python movie, just because for me it's shit. But there's people out there who've been around long enough who are like, well, that didn't teach us anything. Like, we've already seen it. But like, it's just for like, there's such a new wave of people,
right,
and like, I appreciated it, and
this is fresh information.
It's fresh, you know. And dude, Dave, fuck man, he put himself out there to go all the way to fucking Africa.
Dude's in Madagascar right now.
And he's in Madagascar. The guy,
motherfucker. I remember. I remember I had to buy that motherfucker hotel room. You know, and pay, and
you had to buy him a hotel.
Oh yeah,
why?
Yeah.
Because he needed money.
Yeah, man.
You're a homie, Mark.
I love Dave, man.
So if I'm ever on my travels and I'm down bad, I could just hit you up for a hotel room.
I'd probably put you to work. Work for a little bit.
I got you.
We got you covered, man.
Mark,
you're not gonna need no room.
Man, what is cool, Mark. One thing I love about you is like we've hung out more than a few times already, and you just have people you mention who I didn't even know you knew that person, and just kind of shows. You know, when you're around something this long,
not a name dropper.
You're not a name dropper, but I'm just saying when you're around this for so long and your name's been as solid as it is, you have good experiences with mostly everybody. I mean,
I do.
I've never really had any and I feel like you're careful with that. Like, you could easily say that there's relationships that you were able to keep simply by not doing business with the person. And us people have to be mindful. We have to use our own judgment on who we should do business with and who we shouldn't. And like, we kind of talk about how that's important.
I mean, if I can pick and choose who I want to do business with.
Right.
I do not have to do business with you, and you don't have to do business with me. I want to do business with everybody, but if it's not, I mean, I'm just all about feel good, man. I mean, if it doesn't feel good, I mean, I give people good deals, man. But if you start like trying to take
advantage,
that's not gonna work,
right?
I'm sales are not my strong point. I don't, my thing is I like the animal stuff. I like the interaction with the animal, and when you get an animal from me, I notice a lot of these people, they have employees now. And when I had the employees, they did the rodents. I did the snakes. Okay. When you get a snake from me, you get something that I've had my hands on every detail from start to finish.
Right.
And I mean, I feed everything. Jill does the cleaning. I check everything literally every day. I mean, I'm not there right now. So
shout out to Jill, by the way. Jill, you're a real one. And again, we said this yesterday, in case you didn't hear us, shout out to all the significant others, the spouses, the partners, people who let us. Yeah, we got to redo it again because that episode's now no longer. So, but again, shout out to the other halves, man.
You need to have an other half show sometime.
I got to say, one of the most highly recommended guests to come on my show is my wife. People want Lily. They want her to sit down. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, honestly, I feel like me and Lily could kind of, because Lily is a very
dude. I think she wants to do it, man.
Did she tell you?
Well, I mean, her eyes kind of like,
oh shit. Oh man.
And
I don't know. I listen day by day. I think right now I'm gonna chill just because this is kind of a bad time to add Lily into the mix. And she, God bless. Lily's such a pure. And when I say this, like, I have faults. Lily's faults are nowhere near my faults. They're not. Like, there's not a toxic fucking ounce in Lily's.
Dude, she is like
she's good at making fun of me sometimes. But I will say though, she's such a sweet girl. I've never met anyone so sweet. And you meet her parents, and you realize, well, look at your parents. Look how you're raised. You're raised in such an awesome environment. And not that I wasn't. It was kind of rough. But I'm just saying, such a sweet girl, right? So I try to keep everything as pure as possible, you know, that's why I've even had people attack Lily, like, you know, as far as through their stories and stuff like that. And I never got Lily involved because, like, I
didn't think about that.
Yeah,
stuff,
I would never
man,
want to.
Yeah,
because
that
Lily's
might,
like, you know, but you know, people could just do some low things out there. But at the end of the day, I could tell you the future does hold an episode with me and Lily. It will happen. It might be a special guest thing. Maybe we won't see it coming, but it's gonna happen. Me and Lily sitting down. You want to know something else that someone mentioned?
you know, if it weren't for Lily, we wouldn't have met.
What?
Because she was covering your place, so you could go to Illinois, and that's where we met.
I mean, you're right.
You know, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Jill.
Yeah,
You know,
if you're right,
I wouldn't be able to do it. So.
110%. This is why I give so much credit to my wife, because I travel everywhere, guys. I go all over the country, man.
You were lucky, man.
Yeah,
Very
I'm
lucky.
So lucky. I've done stuff in Canada. This year I'm supposed to be going to UK, some stuff in Indo. So I'm very blessed to be traveling everywhere, and it's all because of my wife. Now, mind you, you know, things that might change just because, you know, I'm doing this because I could do this right now. You know what I mean? We do want a family someday. So I don't know how my life's going to be once that happens, but I know for right now, because of what I do, it's because my wife is able to hold shit down. And yeah, shout out to my wife, shout out to Jill for letting, you know, getting your ass to the airport and fucking making you be here. I mean, I got to tell you, that's amazing.
Yep. And she's doing fine. Hadn't been any more snow, so we're good there.
Let me ask you another thing. I mean, what would you feel? And this is kind of scary to me, just because who this person would be. But I also think this would be the most realist, genuine side of MJ and real conversation you could ever hear me say, is having my big sister on the show.
You know, I don't know your big sister.
Oh
I met her.
God.
I met her briefly. Right? I didn't get your dad on here, man.
No, hell no.
Come on, I'll fly out here, man.
Bro,
all three.
You want to talk about cancel culture? My dad, bro. Oh my God, I can. And here's the thing: my dad, if he's on the spotlight, he behaves. Yeah. But if you were to get him comfortable and in the zone, if you guys think MJ's much, bro, my dad is 10 times me. Okay,
dude, I love your dad.
But my dad, honestly, my dad's always been the coolest person in my life.
Very cool.
All my friends always loved my dad more than me. Like my dad's the shit, bro. Like my dad is the fucking man. I love him so much. I love my big sister so much. We're all such alike. But I gotta say, like, here's another person I would never bring on my show. And Lauren, I love you to death. I would never bring my little sister on the show, because my little sister, she's a spitting image of me. Right?
Really?
She's a spitting image of me.
Haven't met her.
She's like, I don't give a fuck, you know. But think, like, she's a hustler. Like my little sister she's done. Like, here's the thing: we are all the way we are because we've had a great life, and then things got really rough. So we had to come out the mud on our own. All three of us. Nobody helped my sister. Like, you know, my mom and dad had their own thing going on in life, and our family did their best. But at a certain point in life, my sister had to figure it out. I had to figure it out. My little sister figured it out. My big sister is she was an A student, also gangster and shit, which was weird. So she was tough, but she was super smart. My sister's built for corporate America. She's she works for Mod Pizza. She's a regional director for Mod Pizza, and she's just like, dude, she has it down. I could never do what my sister does because she's respected by being herself, but like PC, like she doesn't do anything to get fired or say something stupid, and like my sister is so smart what comes out of her mouth. Mm-hmm. Me, we already know. My little sister, pistol. Like, it's just like my big sister has always kept me grounded. So anyways, I feel like, yeah, little sister not going to happen. Maybe can't say never, but my dad not going to happen. Can't say never. More likely will never happen. My big sister, I don't know. I think that could be an episode. We'll see.
See what happens, man.
I mean, why not? I mean, because listen, if family's everything to me, you know what I mean? As far as my immediate family, and sometimes there is some things I need to be reminded of from a family member, like my sister. Like, I have conversations with my sister Bianca, and I'm like, damn, you know, it clicks, you know, and I can be hard-headed. Like, Mark, when you talk to me, Mark, I listen. And one thing I want to get better at is just listening at somebody and maybe don't even know who it is. Maybe just listen to them, you know? I'm a hard listener,
listening is an art, and it's very difficult.
It's super hard to
but
listen,
you have to learn how to do that. Yeah. You know, we have to all be good listeners. I'm not so good at it all the time myself, but it's an ongoing practice.
Yeah.
But that's how we learn. Biggest
thing people, and this is going to be the wrap-up question for Mark's new hot seat question. I got new rounds of hot seat questions for Mark here, so don't think you're out of the woods, just safe here, buddy. But if we were going to go ahead and talk about people who dude, one of the biggest things in people's lives, like I was talking about, my sister's built for corporate America. I'm not, and I think that there's a lot of people out there like me. They can't suck dick. Not that that's terrible. Not my sister does that, but there's people who have to do certain things to move up the ladder in corporate America, like sacrifice their beliefs, sacrifice what they want to do, because that's what you kind of do. Like if you want, like for instance,
people cave.
I didn't get to say
they
this.
cave on their values.
Check this
That's
out.
what you're trying to say.
I didn't get to say this. So what's happening with me, and I know we're moving forward, right? It goes deeper than that. And what I mean by that, I have now YouTube docking me for saying cuss words so soon into my YouTube. Like, so if I say an F word within the first 6 minutes or something like that, I get docked.
What the fuck?
Yes. Right.
Did you get docked?
No, you're good.
Okay.
But there's now these things are happening because my audience is growing. Like the amount of views I have for show is putting me in a category where I can't even smoke. Have you noticed I'm not smoking? I don't even drink. They're using it against you now. So, YouTube, yeah. So, but I think it's a good thing. But the thing is, it's unfortunate because now look, I mean, it's like you get to a certain point of what you're doing where the audience gets so big. You have to adjust, and if you don't, you get docked.
You know, I guess, yeah, I hear you, man. I'm trying to figure out the whole social media thing, which I probably never will. But
it's dicey.
Yeah, I mean, it's
dicey.
It's a ongoing thing. You know, we go this direction, we got to shift a little bit here, there. And
Water.
We continue to get better. Coffee
too. I'm not gonna lie, I've been drinking hella coffee.
Water.
Wait, hold on. Did I ask you the question?
We got this for later.
Yeah, we do. We're not smoking it though.
No.
Not right now. But wait, what was my question? Did I ask my question? I think you inverted. Hold on.
Oh, shit.
Hold on. This happens every episode.
See what happens when you hold on.
I just said something. What did I just say?
We were talking about your sister's.
No, wait.
Yeah, we were beyond that.
You're
but
beyond
I start somewhere.
Damn it! Hold on.
Let's talk about the fucking weather, man. I don't. You know.
God damn it! I was gonna get somewhere. I gotta grab it back, bro.
Dude, I'm like, you know, 2 hours of sleep for 4 days. You know, I mean, it's like
okay. I gotta revert. All right, I'm gonna pivot. Wrap up question. Here we go. I got it.
You got it. I knew it.
Okay, dude. High percentage of people out there hate their job. They fucking are miserable. And I'm talking about people who don't, like, people know if it wasn't for my snakes, I don't know what I would do. Like, people go to work just to get through that day to go home and go back to their animals.
So
right?
People hate their jobs. They hate life. They hate people.
Right.
That's what that does to you. It's like,
so how can someone
been there?
How can someone really game plan the right kind of business plan to become a full-time breeder? Like, what would be recommendations from Marc Bailey if that's what somebody really wanted to do? Like, what are some of the P's and Q's? Like, what are the
well,
things that need to be covered?
First of all, you've got to be willing to work hard
every day.
Right. And you've got to be willing to make sacrifices because you're okay. You know, I tell I'm a farmer. I file my taxes as a farmer. That's what I do.
Right.
It's a different type of farming, but I mean, it requires a lot of discipline, a lot of sacrifice. And if you're willing to do that, and if you find your passion piece within this industry, you can be successful. It's that simple. Look, people are making money, and I think people are going to make a ton of money on isopods. Josh's frog. I mean, that's a multi-million-dollar.
Josh's frogs kill.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when that guy was just coming on. It was nothing.
He was a kid.
Yeah. It's like.
And it was funny. There's a lot of mini
Junior
people like that.
Junior.
Shout out to Junior.
You know, so I asked Junior last night.
Guy.
I've been friends with Junior I thought I was friends with him longer than 15, but he's been doing this since making enough money to make a living since he was 19 years old off of leopard geckos, colubrids. His dad, God bless him. I'm friends with his dad. Was big into corn snakes, and he'd make these. You got to see his fucking sculpture things that his dad made.
What are they made out of?
They will haunt you. I mean, it's just
scary.
It's bad. It's bad shit, man. It's
like sick, like a good one, or bad? It's scary.
Is
it? What is it made out of?
It just kind of freaks me out, man.
Okay,
like,
I gotta see pictures of this.
Yeah, it's like baby faces on like monsters and shit. It's just like
I've seen shit like that. Okay, His dad's into that shit?
I don't know what's up with it. I love his dad, man. This is a sick motherfucker, man.
God bless him, bro.
He's awesome.
Jeff's a hell of a guy. Or Junior's a hell of a guy.
Junior's been to my house. We we've gone herping together and stuff, and just a super smart, and man, talk about a humble guy. Yeah. It was really nice to spend time visiting with him this weekend. Yeah.
It was really good time overall. I mean, this was a good time, man. Hour and a half went by very quick. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. We're going to go get some dinner. But before we do that, let's get these hot seat questions in.
To Ruth Chris's.
Yeah, we're going to Ruth Chris. Oh, yeah.
Right on.
I got a group on, so here we go. Listen, Mark, hot seat questions. We're going to do these very quickly because Ruth Chris sounds very delicious right now. So hot seat questions for Mark Bailey. Get the likes up. Let's go. Coming in. Here we go. If it came down to feeding your hatchling its very first meal, would it be a rat or a mouse?
Mouse.
8 cut or no cut?
No cut.
Favorite arboreal snake?
Emerald basin. I like the basins.
Favorite colubrid?
Honduran milk snake.
Favorite colubrid to breed?
Honduran milk snake.
Okay. Pre-first shed meal or post-first shed meal?
At post.
One reptile we should never import, leave it alone.
Oh, God. We have enough Komodos over here.
What are you looking at?
Nothing.
What the fuck, bro? Jesus Christ.
Just checking the floor, bro.
Oh, you fucker. You're wrong for that, bro. To miss a ball python or to never miss a ball python?
I dump water on them.
Like
so mist, wet, keep them, I like to wet them. Yeah.
Favorite substrate for a ball python?
Shredded aspen.
Least favorite substrate for a ball python?
I gotta say cypress mulch, Cocoa Crisp.
Incubator temperature preference?
88.
Favorite baseball team of all time? If you had
LSU Tigers, man.
Okay. Favorite extreme sport?
I had mountain bike ride, downhill mountain bike riding. We were talking Whistler.
Favorite UFC fighter?
Oh God, that's a tough one, man. Why do you fucking have to ask me that?
On,
Nick Nick Diaz, and
okay.
Bring on the Diaz army, man.
What's the most memorable Nate Diaz fight in your head that stands out?
God, there's so many. Everyone, man,
you can't miss.
Dude, man, I love it. Nick.
We see McGregor though.
Okay, Nick's fight with that dude from England, Paul Daly.
Okay,
remember that?
Yeah. Black dude was Paul Daly.
Black dude.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Nick.
That was a crazy
Nick
fight.
Fuck.
But he came back.
Beat the shit out of
it was crazy. But those are the kind of fighters where they don't turn it on until they get hit a couple times.
Well, no, I mean Nick and Nate, they just gas the dude out, man.
Right. They also get hit while they're doing it.
They're tough.
And then they turn it up.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, here we go.
Love that style. Just love it. In the talk,
Yeah. Favorite reptile show, would it be Daytona or Tinley?
I have to say Tinley.
Little word association. First thing to come to mind. First time ball python breeder.
Do a little breathing.
Is that okay? Is that what you have
yeah,
to say?
Because there's a whole. I could talk to him for a long time, man. and I enjoy working with new people.
Favorite ball python morph?
Oh, right now. Come on, man. They're all my favorites. What would I be?
Don't fuck with me right now, Mark. Tell me your favorite. Like, what's your what is it?
What I don't have, whatever that is. I don't. Shit, man. I'm sorry. I thought this was gonna be easy.
How do we know what you don't have? You have a lot. So
I don't know what there is.
Just think, Mark. Come on, buddy. You got this.
Okay.
You have puzzle?
I've got 2 puzzles.
Okay.
No, it's not my favorite puzzle. I guess I'm gonna say right now. I'm gonna say Desert Ghost.
Okay. Your Desert Ghost game is hella fire. Just so you know.
Well,
speaking of Desert Ghost stuff, shout out to Will Morrow's in the building. You got
is Will there?
Yeah, look at Will right here. Will's always That's a dog. That's a big dog right
We're
there.
just texting the other day. We gotta talk.
All right, moving forward. Here we go.
Where's Calvin?
Where is Calvin?
Fuck, man, I can't leave until
Fuck,
Calvin
you see how
comes.
pissed he is?
I mean,
Fucking Calvin,
I got
man.
my cowboy boots
Oh
on.
my god. All right, fuck it. Here we go. Last but not least, if it came down to you eliminating one recessive out of the ball python game forever, like what is the one ball python recessive morph that you feel like is the least
Albino.
Ooh, wasted no time. Albino. God bless the albino. Rest in peace. Listen, Marc Bailey, this has been an awesome time. Guys, hit the like button for my man Marc. I'm telling you right now, this is an iconic episode for me. He's right here in my house. This has been an amazing time. Thank you to everyone in the live chats. Thank you for all the super chats. Please, you go give him a follow on Morph Market at Marc Bailey Reptiles. Anywhere else where people could be on top of where to find your stuff, Marc, just so you want to just go and plug your stuff real quick.
I'm on Morph Market. I'm a little bit kind of out of action lately. I've got some personal distractions going on in my life, so I'm kind of laying low. Family issues, but I'm pretty much just do Morph Market. So keep an eye on that, and I will be posting things as we progress into 2023. So.
Indeed, guys, and I'm gonna do my best to get Marc going here on Instagram. He's fucking just doesn't care for some reason, but I don't blame him. But you never know. Who knows? Maybe someday you'll be on Instagram. You are, but you won't. Just tell.
I just got to figure it out, man.
Yeah,
I'm slow on it.
I'm gonna help you. You guys, go give me a follow on Instagram, TrapGod619. If you're interested in what I have going on other than podcast stuff, very active on IG. Have all my projects on there, so. Hit me up, TrapGod619. Go follow the podcast's page as well, the Trap Talk Podcast. Shout out to Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go follow me. Trap Talk Podcast on the Facebook page. Like that. Follow me. And last but not least, shout out to my Patreon members. I love you guys so much. The Trap Talk family is still growing. That's one place I haven't taken a hit at, and I love you guys so much for all your loyalty. If you're looking for exclusive content, go to the very first link that you see. Tap on the Trap Talk Patreon family link. Join the Patreon family. As soon as you do, you get a tap to the disc. You get a link to the Discord, which taps you in with over 150 fucking trappers in the building. What do you have to say to all my Patreon members out there, Marc?
Man, I want to say, man, give MJ some love, man. This is a great guy, man. A great energy. His heart's in the right place. Man, just comes from a great family, solid. He's gonna be around. Nobody's perfect, bro, and you're learning. You're learning. All right.
God damn it. Yep. I think I smell mac and cheese with lobster on it. I think I smell a filet mignon, and I'm going to go enjoy my rest of my night with my beautiful friend Desiree and my nephew Lars, my homie Marc Bailey, and my beautiful wife. Guys, have a beautiful night. I'll see you here tomorrow for New Breed on the Block, and we're out. Cheers.